Hi and welcome everyone. This is Varleigh at Lavender Sky Panther with you on Sunday, July 6th, 2025 for another little mini-series show here called Crystal Fan Fav 2. Today it's all about peacock ore or boronite, which also goes by, well, a similar variation of it is called chalcopyrite. So I want to first give a big heartfelt thanks and a shout out to Mystic Fox over at YouTube channel Mystic Fox. I'll put a link in the description area below after this show at some point. Bear with me, give me a little time to update the description after this airs. But thank you, Mystic Fox, for selecting this amazing and gorgeous crystal. So much like the last show that we covered selenite with, I'm going to just touch on a brief etymology about crystal and then move on into some interesting facts. I'll give my sources. I'm going to just read straight up some of the notes on some of the scientific things, and then we're going to move into some spiritual, esoteric things, and even cosmic things as far as constellations. So what I want to do, my aim here, is to cover some things that you might already know about this crystal, maybe some you don't, and also just some that maybe aren't often talked about, okay? Like fun facts and interesting facts. First and foremost, what I'd like to say is the best thing for anybody to do, I think anyway, is to get your hands on a specimen. This is the only one I have. If you can get your hands actually on a piece, it doesn't matter how big, and just hold it and just close your eyes and feel into it and feel what it means to you before we even get into some of the descriptions I'm going to talk about. You know, just really get a sense, because each individual crystal itself will carry a different meaning. For example, this one has a lot of weight to it. It's not very big. This is the size of an oracle card, you know, so you can kind of see, and next to a penny, you know, it's the size of it. But it really packs a lot of power. I'll just say that right away. Now, I guess I'm going to skip around a bit. Bear with me. I tend to do that. There's just a lot to say about this. But what I want to say is some of the descriptions of this, when you look around on the internet, will say, oh, it's a stone of happiness and happy-go-lucky type of feel, like a cheerleader if you have it with you. It inspires you. It lifts your spirits, takes you out of like a gloomy mood. I can see how it can do that, yes. But it also does a little bit more. Again, when you hold a specific piece, for me, even above all of that, because of its obvious, you know, happy-go-lucky and cheery properties, you know, like the iridescence of the peacock, is just, you know, awe-inspiring. This one, and I've got to say, feeling into it today, this morning, and every day might bring a different feeling as well. Holding it, I just feel an overwhelming sense of peace. I think that is one of the properties people talk about too. And grounding, very much so grounding right now. It is also said to be a stone of protection, and I really feel that coming through on this one right now. So I'll zoom in here a little bit, show you some of the little colorations of this one in particular. And you know what, I really like the fact that it is mixed with vibrant color, but also the muddier, earthy tones for grounding on this particular piece. So if you're out there crystal hunting, good luck. Hope you find a beautiful piece if this is what you're after. Okay, and I put the pennies there because they're copper properties in this. Okay, actually copper, iron, and sulfur. Okay, so let me now stick to my notes a bit, much like last week, so I can stay on track. I just have a limited window to record this, that's why. Oh, and if I haven't mentioned it already, if this applies, this is a pre-recording, but I will be present in live chat if anybody wants to talk about this or other crystals or anything else that is of good and high vibe nature. Okay? All right, so I'm going to run through some notes. So getting back to it, I did say I would talk about the etymology. Much like the previous show, I'm just going to read one little line about that. And pardon any wandering camera work as well. The etymology of crystal is from kristallos, from Greek, meaning frost. In other cultures, it might mean ice. And for me, it means Christ plus all, meaning the Christ, or the Christ consciousness, meaning, you know, pure, highest intended consciousness. Also, a living organism, a life force. And so that's what it means to me. And so feel it out and see what it means to you. Many cultures, you know, refer to it. The etymologies are going to come from something that implies clear ice, or even frost, okay, or the type of freeze that starts to form a crust. Okay, Peacock ore is also bornite, is the more scientific name. And apparently, and I just say apparently because a lot of our history, I believe, is coming to light of what our true history is. So I never know what is truth or not, other than going into my intuition, and when I hear something, seeing if it just clicks or rings as true or not. And that's what, all of us can be doing at this time of where we are at in our quote-unquote now, feel into what history feels authentic or not. So anyway, I'll just say that the name of it is attributed to an Austrian mineralogist named Ignaz von Born. It was named officially around 1845, but there were references to it in written form, I think, in around 1725, they say. But of course, I'm sure somewhere on the planet, somebody had discovered it and wondered at its beauty. That's just my take on it. Now, if you look at things like some of the dictionary definitions, they'll say, let's see. Sorry, I just lost my place on something. I wanted to refer to a dictionary definition, but I don't have that right now. But some of the other crystal procurers of crystals, people who sell crystals, some of those sites, I'll put links in the description area below. Some of them say, I'll quote, "Like many gems, peacock ore isn't the only pseudonym for bornite. Other nicknames include blushing copper and aerobesite." Now, I am going to read straight up from my notes here too, from a crystals website about the key formation processes. It involves hydrothermal activity. Bornite commonly forms in hydrothermal veins where hot, mineral-rich fluids precipitate copper and iron sulfides within fractures and cavities in the host rock. It can also be formed with contact metamorphism, and that's where it comes in contact with metamorphic environments, where it forms with the interaction of copper-bearing fluids with surrounding rocks, leading to the deposition of copper-iron sulfides. Supergene enrichment. Bornite is also found in the enriched zones of sulfide deposits, where secondary processes such as weathering and oxidation concentrate copper minerals near the surface. Okay, now another site says the crystal structure of bornite is cubic, but it often appears in a massive granular form. It has a metallic luster and is opaque. Its hardness on the Mohs scale is about 3, with specific gravity ranging from 4.9 to 5.3, and the tarnishing that gives it its colorful appearance is the result of the oxidation of its copper content when exposed to air. Okay, so that's a little bit about that on the more scientific side. And let's see, it also can be called chalcopyrite, as I mentioned, and the difference between chalcopyrite and bornite is in its scientific formula. And give me a minute, let me find it. I didn't memorize it. I almost did. Okay, so the bornite formula is Cu5FeS4. So that's the Cu is the copper, the Fe is the iron, and the S is for sulfur. And the chalcopyrite is similar, and it's CuFeS2. So we're just missing a few numbers, but they're very close in their formulation. So the crystal system, it's called a tetragonal, and the colors are often the iridescent gold, purple, and blue. Okay, so let me go back and talk about, let's go into emotional healing properties a little bit. I think I mentioned a little bit before. It does have a lively energy, and this particular site says that it's encouraging us to be happy, feel hopeful, and be more confident in our own skin. It reminds us to stop and smell the roses and to take time to really enjoy our life. Peacock ore is a very good stone to work with when we feel like our hearts and our minds are not united, especially on important topics like romantic relationships or our livelihood. Peacock ore helps our heart and mind to talk more clearly with each other and to help us make decisions that will best serve our highest good. Peacock ore encourages us to find practical ways to pursue our dreams and the courage to be open to real love. Now, for mental healing properties, the site says, Peacock ore sharpens our intellectual capabilities and encourages us to be open to new ideas. Its vibration pulses with fresh energy, which can be used to reinvigorate the mind when it feels tired. It is particularly good for us, for helping us to see and understand patterns within the larger picture and to bring all the different details into balance. Hold on one second, guys. Oops. Give me a moment. Sorry, guys, I had to hop off for a second. Let me backtrack a little. So for the mental healing properties, I'll finish reading this. It is particularly good for helping us to see and understand patterns within the larger picture and to bring all the different details into balance and alignment. Peacock Ore encourages us to always give the highest quality of work in all of our endeavors. Now, there are also some physical healing properties that some recommend. Let's see. That I wouldn't say so much as physical. What they're talking about is pretty much a confidence and self-image booster to, just as a reminder that the only opinion that matters or the only perception that matters is that of yourself. So don't worry about what others think about and just maintain the highest and best beliefs about your own self, meaning your physical body, beliefs surrounding beauty, and all of that. Okay, so we're going to jump around a little bit. Now we're going to hop right into mining and treatments and get a little more scientific again. So sulfide minerals such as bornite and chalcopyrite are ore minerals for valuable metals including gold, silver, platinum, and copper. These are often mined in massive open-pit industrial copper mines, where the ore and minerals are crushed and melted to extract the metal. Occasionally, these sulfide minerals may be found in small-scale or artisanal deposits. Depending on the circumstances, it may be economically worthwhile for the miners to sell the bornite or chalcopyrite in their natural form. If the minerals are tarnished naturally or artificially, they are then sold under the name Peacock Ore. Yes, and another place I was getting information talks about that some places will tarnish or create the oxidation artificially, induce that, so that there's a more uniform distribution of, this color, all over, instead of just, as it would form naturally. Okay. All right, that's a bit about that. Give me one moment here. And let's see what else we've got. We're going to go over a little bit of, let's see. Yeah, now we'll just kind of go through a variety of fun facts and then see where we come to. We're going to land eventually on the constellation too, because there's a constellation named after the peacock. So another site is saying that, of course, the male version of the peacock is the brightly colored one. The peahen is the female, and the peachick is the baby. And just a fun fact I want to throw in there, because I learned this a couple years ago for the first time. If you see a group of peacocks, peahens, or any various combination of them and the babies, the group name can be referred to as a party or an ostentation. I just thought that was a little fun fact. Okay, so we talked about peacock ore being a nice mood lifter, and we also talked about a few other things of what it can do. Some say on the healing front that it potentially can boost your immune system, give you more energy if you're working with it as a healer. And some say it's like a little battery pack for your body and spirit. And some say it can help with circulation and even ease joint pain. So that's something easy to do. Just hold the rock, close your eyes, and feel where you might be having discomfort, and then place, the stone on that area is one way to work with it for healing. All right, then we get into some mythology, and I'm going to read a little passage here and then just paraphrase another or kind of summarize another. Here's a little fun fact here about mythology. So it says, unsurprisingly, this pretty stone is closely linked to its magnificent namesake. The brightly colored birds are always male, while the peahen is much more demure brown. The peacock has been a symbol of royalty and divinity for centuries, as well as a symbol for watchfulness and protection. It is the sacred bird of the Buddhist Bodhisattva and Kuan Yin, also known as the goddess of compassion. According to legend, before Kuan Yin left the earth, she created a guardian animal to help her usher in world peace. She rubbed her hands on her face and then called over a large brown bird and brushed its feathers with her hands, leaving behind a kaleidoscope of colors. The eyes, quote-unquote, on the peacock's tail feathers are said to evoke Kuan Yin's 1,000 eyes, quote-unquote, watching down over us. while the mournful cry of the peacock is a call to the goddess to remember the people and to help us in our time of need. Now, there's a similar mythological, in quotes, story, because I think there's a bit of truth in all of these mythologies. There's a similar story about Hera and Zeus. So supposedly, Zeus being the wandering womanizer, we can say, as he was, apparently, or allegedly, in the legends and the myths. Supposedly, Hera was not pleased with that and with his wanderingness, and so she supposedly sent a servant with 100 eyes to go watch what he was doing and to report back to her. But he was slain upon discovery, and so she honored him by putting him into or creating him as a peacock, and that's why all of the eyes, they call it the eye in the tail feather, because when they spread their feathers, you can see the little blue points, look like eyes. And that's also in a lot of religions, the eyes, refer to the insight or divine sight, right? Okay, so let's see what else we've got. We're going to move along here. Here's another blog site I'm going to read some excerpts from because I really like some of the things that, I believe it's a woman that writes it. It's called Greeker Than the Greeks. And in the Greek mythology, or having to do with Greeks, ancient Greeks, the name peacock is, I think you pronounce it pagoni. And she says, according to the ancients, the peacock, a symbol for immortality, did not decay after death, and that it replaced its feathers each year, making it a symbol of renewal and resurrection. This accounts for why it appears regularly in Christian iconography. Also, she says, Pythagoras, from around 570 to 495 BC, the mathematician, world influencer, and ancient Greek cult leader, claims the reason peacocks became so popular was that the soul of Homer, the Greek poet from 8th century BC, moved to the peacock after his death. Well, that's a very nice romanticized view there. She also writes, Alexander the Great himself was said to have been so dazzled by the beauty of peacocks that he made it illegal to kill them. There are many versions of the peacock story in Greek mythology. In early Greek myths, the peacock is said to have sprung from the blood of Argus I think it's pronounced Panoptes, the 100-eyed giant. And that's what I referred to earlier. Later versions have it that it was Hera, goddess of women, marriage, who either upon the death of Argus placed his eyes in the peacock's tail or actually turned Argos into a peacock herself. So, little mixed reviews on which angle of that story might have happened. And, again, it's interesting to hear these quote-unquote mythologies, because I do believe there's a little kernel of truth in there somewhere, a particle of truth. And so always with those stories, when you hear them, as with everything, just go inside, use your discernment, what part of that might be true, even in its smallest measurement or not. All right, we're also going to look at, here's something that I'm not purporting to be true or not, but again, feel it out. From another science link here, it says, in Indian traditional medicine, peacock feather in the form of ash, basma, or water extract are used against snake bite and to treat various problems associated with lungs. Okay, now we'll move into the constellation that involves peacock. So there is a constellation of stars, and there's a galaxy in there, and it's called Pavo. And that is supposed to be peacock, with the brightest star of that constellation being peacock. But I want to point out that in Spanish, pavo means turkey, and pavo real is peacock. So when you see the constellation Pavo, it's a bit of a misnomer because I think, in reality that's turkey. Now, some say, I don't know if this is true, that in the Americas, in North America with the colonization times, that people referred to peacocks as kind of like Indian turkeys, like turkeys from India. So anyway, that's just another little side note. All right, so we'll talk about the constellation Pavo, the peacock. It's the sky's 44th largest constellation by area. And this is coming from another website, skyandtelescope.org. It says, Pavo the peacock is one of the 4 constellations known collectively as the southern birds, the others being Grus the crane, Phoenix the phoenix, and Tucana the toucan. Like many constellations, Pavo goes a long way back to 1598. In fact, when it was included on a celestial globe produced by Dutch-Flemish cartographers Petrus Plancius and Jodocus Hondius. Okay, so supposedly Pavo can be only seen in the southern hemisphere sky. So that rules out a portion of the planet. So if you're in the southern hemisphere, you might be able to see it. And okay, I think that's it for now. So the only other little tidbit on my little notes here is that there's a blue feathered Indian peafowl, and there's supposedly a larger green peafowl that's found in Southeast Asia. There's also a white peacock. I have seen them myself. Actually, they're in Florida at a popular tourist destination called the Fountain of Youth. And there are tons of peacocks roaming around there, including white ones. Now, those are not albinos. They're supposedly just a form of the blue peacock, but the Indian blue, but with some genetic change that makes it white. Okay? All right, so that's all I have from my actual notes. And I'm going to have to make it a condensed show. Sorry about that. Time-wise, again, I thought I'd have more time today. About in another couple weeks, I'll have more time to dedicate to these and give them a little more time, give them a little more airtime. But for now, let's look at some cards. So so for anybody who's not so much into oracle cards or intuitive readings, this is your time to carry on and have a beautiful day or evening wherever you are. And for those who don't mind or want to hear something a little bit from other points of view, I'm going to go over a couple of cards. So the first one is number 46. That can also be number 10 or a 1. And it's this beautiful image. We're taking this from the kind of spirit animal oracle deck. And look how beautiful. We've got the heart chakra with the heart in there and the crown as well. You know, again, as we covered earlier, it's kind of bringing the heart and the mind into balance and harmony and deep insights. All right, so the message here is peacock spirit, let it shine. So you can actually see the ray of light, hopefully you can, shining out of that heart off to the right side of the card. So it's shining out from the heart, also shining out from its innate and majesty, really magnificence, right? Just shining out from all over, and the crown, of course, the gold representing on the crown. And the purple, of course, is a color of royalty, it is said. So it really is a pavo real, or a royal turkey in Spanish, right? All right, so I'm going to read straight from the book on this one. I'll show for anybody who's interested in oracle cards. This is actually really beautifully done. The illustrations, I really like the artist on this one, and she's done a lot of decks. They've collabed together. But let me just read some excerpts, if I can get there. Give me a moment. On Peacock Spirit. Oh, and a bonus card is going to be Otter Spirit, number 42 or 6, because I just happen to use that as the bookmark. But look how beautiful the illustrations are on that deck. Okay. So, let it shine. The message is, when is the last time you shook a tail feather and shined your light for all to see? Within each of us is a peacock spirit yearning for expression. And you are called now to show the world the gorgeous creature you are, for you are a manifestation of spirit. Sorry about the camera work, guys. Come out from the shadows, Peacock Spirit says, and show your true colors. Excuse me. So that others may be inspired to express their own exquisiteness. Give me one moment again. Last week, my voice was impaired by the incense. Today, I have no idea. Hold on one moment. Okay, we'll try this again. Fun fact, when I paused the video just now, it stopped on 2424 timestamp, so that may mean something to someone out there. All right, let me wrap this up while I still have my voice. So it continues to say, dance as if you remember that you are made of stardust and grace, filled with life force, energy, and sparkling light. You are a channel for divine love, and your dance is one of a kind. catch the light and help it to shimmer and dance in celebration of your good fortune of being right here, right now. Spirit wants you to be joyful so that others may get up and dance along with you. The protection message of this card is, are you afraid of dancing with abandon because of what others might think? Do you think you may be punished if you shine too brightly? Have you been conditioned to expect to be heard if you show yourself fully to the world? Maybe not everyone will celebrate your beautiful radiance when you shine. That is okay. Peacock Spirit is here to remind you that while others may resist celebrating the beauty within them, although they may contract while you expand and shake your tail feathers, smile and keep dancing anyway. Model the good fortune and abundant joy that is yours, and soon someone will say, "Me too," and join you. Spirit loves you so much and wants you to enjoy the dance and shine your light. That is so true. And there is, I think, something that, went all around. I don't want to say the V word with internet and how things get popular. But one video really took off a while back, and it was a festival. I think it was a Sasquatch festival somewhere. I can't remember where. And it shows just social engineering, how everybody, or not everybody, but most people are inhibited to shine, because since childhood, everyone's programmed to play it small, not play at all, just be you and be expansive. So a lot of people might feel inhibited in social situations. And this video showed there was just one guy dancing to his own beat. He was out there just doing all his own moves, and people were walking by and laughing and everything. And then he was just letting the rhythm take him and grooving into the music. And all of a sudden, just took one other person to go and dance along with him, with just total freedom dancing. And then all of a sudden a huge crowd started amassing, and then everyone was dancing. And that just describes what that card said, the joining in. And me too, some people feel they need permission to do something. No, you don't need permission. Be you, and be authentic, and be out there if you wish. No judgments. And the worst judge of all is ourselves, on ourselves. So let that go. All right. Now I put this other card next to this just because this one's coming from the Hidden Worlds deck, and it has nothing to do with peacocks per se, other than it is about illumination. And peacocks also are very much about divine connectedness, insights, and illumination. But this one is just the tree of illumination, and the message there is truth, revelations, and understanding. Okay, then we have another couple of cards coming from the Wisdom of Hafiz deck. It's a very beautiful deck as well. And I'm just going to kind of gloss over these as we have a little bit of glare. It's just beautiful artwork there. And one message is number 22, or it's a number 4, befriend pleasure. And this is just a message to self-indulge. Treat yourself to a nice bath. Not just a bath, but throw in some bubbles. Throw in some nice flowers or some herbs that, are friendly. Non-allergic herbs. But things like lavender or rose, and just pamper yourself, right? Or if you don't want more of those floral notes, go with eucalyptus or other things that feel refreshing and stress relieving, and maybe mint or rosemary. But again, whatever doesn't harm anything when you're in there, if you have sensitive skin. Okay, now here's another card, beautiful artwork as well, also from the Wisdom of Hafiz. And this one says number 3, embrace your magnificence. And actually, I will read that one, and I'm going to go over this card to wrap it up, because I realize time-wise I need to jump off. But here's another beautiful card, evoking the 20s, spirit of the 20s, 1920s. And she's holding the peacock there on top of a fountain. And that water, would connect it with kind of the emotional healing properties. It's almost like that's one of her, like a comfort animal. But anyway, just glorious, right? It's another reminder to celebrate the self. Don't play it small. Really, truly shine. Okay? So let me read this one. Number 3, embrace your magnificence. And it's a short little passage. So it says, to your magnificent throne you can return with benevolent acts toward yourself and others. A 4-year-old isn't self-conscious about her power. She plays and struts and boastfully announces her ability to twirl and split. This is the joy of being, taking up the fullness of your space and strutting the genius of you, unself-consciously, even as a young child would. This is an act of generosity as you share your brilliance with the world. You grant permission for others to share theirs. And that's what we were just talking about. Let me read that. I didn't read that with the right flow. This is an act of generosity. As you share your brilliance with the world, you grant permission for others to share theirs. So yeah, be that person, if you wish, to be the catalyst or giving the one to give permission for those who feel they need it, who have not yet broken out of that mindset that they need permission to shine. Okay. And actually, I was thinking I was going to read a different card. So, yeah, that's okay. I think we'll just end on that. All right, one more thing I will show at the very end is just for a little bit of inspiration. Two things. This one I just put here. If you can't get your hands on a peacock ore, I would say like the next best thing to inspire wonder and magic and creativity and a little bit of upliftment here is labradorite. So there's a lot of different types, different colors, flashes. It can go in more blues like this one, purples, hot pinks, peach, orange, whatever. Just reminded me too of this whole scene. And I'm going to just end up one more thing to show for inspiration, and then I better go so I get this posted in time. This is, you just never know where inspiration, creativity, and the spirit of creativity like the peacock does, and the peacock ore. This is jewelry created looking at, the natural pattern of the peacock. And this comes from Tiffany, like a collection of Tiffany the jewelers. And just to give you an idea, things can move from a sketch, to real jewelry. And these are beautiful watercolor images from the 20s and earlier. So just with a little bit of watercolor or gouache, I think it's called, you get some opaque or tempera paints, anything, and explore with mixed media. We're so used to maybe drawing, something on a white background. There's a lot of beautiful techniques with watercolor and pencils, colored pencils, that you can even just get, like, look at this, it's just a brown paper. You can get like a grocery bag, paper bag, and start drawing and be creative. I'm going to show a little more. Here's another image of peacocks. And this was going to be turned, I think, into a brooch or a pin. And then I think some of these are, like from the 20s and 30s. These are the animal forms. Oops, I don't want to make you dizzy. Hold on, let me put it over here. While I'm hopping to a page. Bear with me one second. Oh, well, here's another. So here, if you, for the insects, this is just beautiful washes, on darker paper. And I'm going to show you one more. Just felt inspired by the peacock with these jewelry pieces, mainly because of the beautiful illustrations. So here we have sunflower renderings, paintings, and these were just studies that the studios, the people at Tiffany were working on to create jewelry. So look, here we have some sepia wash, and then they created that brooch through, after doing some of the drawings and the studies, botanical studies, and drawings and sketches. And this one's really beautiful. And then I think I was going to show you one more. Yeah, one more of how you can take a sketch or painting and then turn it into something 3D. That's a pin, a brooch. Okay, well, for some reason I felt strongly that I should do that. Oh, and there's the stamp. It's going to be upside down, but you can see the drawing. They're showing it's the property of Tiffany and Company. But anyway, all right, that's just for a little extra inspiration. If anybody needed it, I felt I was supposed to talk about it for some reason. All right, well, that's our little summary, our little show about peacock ore, bornite, or chalcopyrite. And have a beautiful right now. And as always, as I'd like to say, tremendous peace and love to you. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.